Hello everybody, welcome into another video. It is the Brilliant Birder here today, and we are at the floods once more because we are doing a rather interesting video. We are doing a Swan Special, which is similar to the video I did with the nightingales a couple of weeks back. So I'll be telling you everything there is to know about swans, covering all of their aspects, talking to you guys about why they are so recognizable birds, and I'll let you know of any other birds that I see as well. So it's going to be a good video. I hope you'll learn something, and I really do hope you enjoy. The inspiration for this video was that when I took a quick glance at the floods last night, I saw a huge number of swans, and seeing as they're such recognizable birds, which everybody knows about, or at least I hope, I wanted to do a special on this and on the swan, and tell you some facts about them. So first of all, the swan's main colouring is that they're mainly white. As you can see here, there's loads of swans, quite a few actually, and last night there was probably the most I had ever seen, so it was very interesting. And so they're white, and what people don't see as much is that they have a black beak with a slightly red knob on their forehead, rather like the coot. But the coot is white, so it's a very recognizable bird. They mate for life, meaning that if one of their if their mate dies, they will stay, let's say, single, you could say. So they're quite nice in terms of colouring and in terms of their love life. So anything else that I know of? Yes, there are three types of swans, or at least that I know about. One is the common one, the mute swan, the one that the species that you usually get in cities, parks and ponds, and which you've probably seen before. It's the one that I'm talking about. It's the white one with the black beak and slightly red bit on their forehead, and that's the mute swan. They're called mute swans because they aren't really heard calling that much, but in recent weeks I have heard the mute swans, or so they're called, calling a lot actually when I arrive here, which is interesting because you don't really hear that often, and it's a slightly like grunting, hissing sound combined, and it's very interesting to hear, and also not too common. So they also hiss when they're alarmed, and that's mostly the mute swan. That's the common one. Now we get on to the whooper swan. Now the whooper swan is a bit different. The whooper swan is exactly the same as the mute swan, apart from a few things. It is a bit smaller, a little bit smaller. It has a black beak overall, but with a yellow patch running through the beak. So, and as the name suggests, it makes a whooping call, rather like a trumpet, which is quite a funny noise to hear. These are quite rare birds, especially in the UK. I have actually seen like two of them once on the reservoir. I don't think I made a video on it, but I did see them on the reservoir once. It was a very good find. And in my short, the rarest birds I've seen in the UK, there is a brief photo of a whooper swan, which you can check out, but I'll show it on screen as well for you to see. And then the third and final type of swan is the Bewick swan, which is very rare. I've never seen one before in the UK. They are very similar to whooper swans. They are completely white, same size, except that the yellow patch running through their beak is a little bit smaller. So, yeah, they really are quite rare, and yeah, very cool to see one if you did. But those are the 3 types of swans. Now I'll get on to the laying. So they start off as what's called a cygnet, a baby swan, which isn't a particularly nice looking bird. It's like a goose-sized grey blob of feathers. But as they grow older, they shed these brown feathers and turn into these pure white beauties, which are protected in the UK and are extremely lovely birds. So they start off as not extremely attractive ones, and they become the beauties that you see on screen now. They have long necks, which they use to go underwater and catch all sorts of underwater fish and other things, I'm pretty sure. I'll tell you all about their diet as well in a slideshow that I'll show you in a bit. Yeah, they really are amazing birds. Super recognizable. I'm sure any of you watching this video will have seen them before, because they're big, they're bright, and they're really lovely birds. So they are fully deserving of a special. I will do more of these in future in case you're looking forward to them. Aside from swans, just very briefly, I'm just going to talk about the birds that I've seen so far. Unfortunately, I didn't bring binoculars because I forgot them, which happens a little bit too much, so I'm a bit annoyed about that. But I can still see quite a few. So first of all, when I arrived here, in that tree, in front of the 6 big trees over there, in front of it there's like a dead tree, I saw a little egret in there, which is looks like this one but much smaller and perches quite a lot in trees looking for fish and other things so that it can dive in. Saw that. Canada geese here, you can see a big flock of them. Shell ducks, coots, tufted ducks. On the way here, when I was coming down the drive, I managed to see a spotted flycatcher, which is a lifer for me because I haven't actually identified it before. It's a rather plain-looking brown songbird with a white streak on its belly, but the main giveaway when I saw it was its black beak. So when I first saw it, I thought it might have been any other songbird, a chiffchaff, a wren, or a sparrow, but upon closer inspection, it had a black beak and a few brown markings around its face. And after just consolidating this with Merlin, I found out that it was a spotted flycatcher, which is a lifer for me. It was in a tree, and it supports the evidence given by the description of it from Merlin. It likes to nest in deciduous woodland, so yes, all fingers point to the spotted flycatcher. So that's another lifer to add to the notebook. My grand total is now around 110 or more, I think. So rapidly increasing as well on the channel. Yeah, that's the spotted flycatcher. What else have I seen? Yeah, I saw a few Egyptian geese fly over, some grey-lag geese, it looks like, over there. I may have heard the piping call of a redshank earlier, but I don't want to assume things, so I'm not going to consolidate it unless I hear it in a recording. That's mostly all for the birds, though. And now I will show you some photos and a slideshow of the swan and their 3 types, their diet, and everything there is to know about them. So, yeah. So, just before I start the slideshow, I went round a bit to the bridge and just to see if I could hear any more birds. And I saw a pied avocet, no, quite a few actually, flying overhead. So yeah, that's good. I saw a red shank and green shank. Green shanks are quite rare, so at this time of year especially, so that's good. We saw and heard them both. The recorder picked up a linnet while I was away, and there are some other birds that we saw. So it was also overall a good birding day at the floods. But now we want to focus our concentration over to the Swan slideshow. So I will show that to you in a few seconds. But I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed this trip actually, and the weather is looking great. It really is summer now, pretty much. It is 30 degrees in the UK where I am, and doesn't really get hotter than this much at this time of year. So I am absolutely sweltering with only one layer on. I will now show you the slideshow, and I really hope you enjoy. Bye! The Swan by the Brilliant Birder. Species of swan. Northern Hemisphere. In the Northern Hemisphere, swans are characterized by completely white feathers throughout adulthood. Major species include the iconic mute swan, known for curved necks, and the highly vocal whooper swan, as well as the bewick swan. Southern Hemisphere. These are some other species of swan that I haven't actually mentioned already. So they demonstrate stunning black contrasts. Features the Australian black swan with dramatic charcoal feathers and vivid red bills, and South America's black-necked swan, featuring an elegant pitch-black neck over a snowy body. Just for reference, the top photo is a whooper swan. As you can see, it's a bit different. It looks very much like a swan, a mute swan, but it's got a yellow streak on its black bill, and below it is the bewick swan, which is a little bit smaller than the whooper swan, and the yellow patch is also on the a bit smaller on the beak. So that's just how you can differentiate between those two and the mute swan. Anatomy of the swan. Engineered for flight. Swans are among the heaviest flying birds in existence, with adult males weighing up to 15 kilos. This requires incredible adaptation to take flight from both land and water. Bones. Hollow, lightweight skeleton that maintains rigid support without excessive mass. Massive wingspan. Stretches over 3.1 meters, 10 feet, maximizing lift during prolonged, energy-intensive migration. V formation. This is recognizable, and usually swans and geese fly with this V formation a lot. And another surprising fact is that they can fly at altitudes up to 26,000 feet, which is comparable to some planes even. Dietary and feeding adaptations. Filter feeding. Swans use sharp beak edges to strain organic matter, algae, and small mollusks directly from shallow, muddy riverbeds. This is called dabbling, and you often see it in other geese as well. Herbivore focus. They consume submerged roots, tubers, and aquatic leaves. They make use of their long necks to reach plants far deeper than any other waterfowl can. Grit ingestion. Swans deliberately swallow small pebbles and sand, which physically crush and grind down coarse plants. If you have chickens, you will also know that you feed them actually shells of oysters and things because they don't have teeth and they need to eat shells and other hard objects in order to grind down their food. So in this way, swans and chickens' feeding techniques are quite similar. Romance. Lifelong partners. Swans are world-renowned for forming bonds that remain intact year-round. These deep partnerships reduce nesting failures and improve the survival rate of offspring. Seductive rituals. Courtship involves highly synchronized swimming, head bowing, and lateral neck movements. When fully aligned, pairs often touch bills to form the iconic, heart-shaped visual silhouette. Here's an example of it. Here's the photo. Evolution of the cygnet. 1. Incubation. The female sits on a clutch of 3 to 8 eggs for up to 45 days, fiercely guarded by the male. The cygnet. Chicks hatch covered in fluffy, waterproof grey down. They are capable of swimming almost immediately. 3. Juvenile. At 3 to 6 months, grey-brown mottled feathers emerge. This acts as essential camouflage from avian predators. 4. Maturity. By age 2 or 3, juveniles undergo a full molt, achieving pristine white plumage and establishing pair bonds. Territorial aggression. They're fierce nest protectors. Males will aggressively attack any perceived threat within their breeding zone, including large mammals, watercraft, and even humans. Busking displays. To ward off intruders, swans perform busking, fluffing their wings high over their backs and curving their necks tightly, and rushing forward with powerful leaps. Wing strength myths. While folklore states a swan can break a human's arm with a single wing beat, their lightweight, hollow bird bones make this highly unlikely, though bruises remain common. If you've ever encountered a swan like this, you may have noticed that if they feel threatened, they'll hiss at you. This is because they feel that their nests are being approached too much and you should probably retreat. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and sub if you enjoyed, and please give me any feedback in the comments.